Then, welcome to the second webinar in the Starting with Marketing series. My name is Dirk Stemers. Today's guest is Ivo Bruijnaers. Both of us are two Dutchies in Germany. I myself am an interim marketing manager or a marketing consultant or a fractional CMO, whatever you want to call it. I meet a lot of founders, CMOs, CEOs, and I have the impression that they still don't know what to expect from marketing, what to expect of the effort, the outcomes, and to create a little platform where I discuss that with people whose work I personally value a lot. I have started a webinar series about getting started with marketing because I see that most of my clients would benefit a lot from understanding the fundamentals a bit better so that the conversations that come afterwards are easier to have, decisions are easier to make. And in the same time, I just have a fantastic excuse to hang out with fantastic people. I get to explain how I look at marketing. And I think that that is kind of the most interesting thing for us marketeers anyway, that we have an opportunity to look into the kitchen of other marketeers, because we all approach it differently. There is not one perfect answer to everything. There's not one way to do all of marketing, and we all have to follow those specific rules. Breaking rules can even be a very important part of marketing. And so today, in our second edition, I have introduced Ivo from Digisocial. Digisocial. So I get so confused because on the one hand I want to pronounce it the Dutch way, and the other hand I want to pronounce it the English way. So please correct me there later on. Ivo and I are good friends, and I think I know Ivo because I commented on one of his LinkedIn posts saying like, comment meta ads and I give you my fantastic Google Sheets. And instead of actually telling him, instead of him selling me something, we ended up hanging out. And we worked together on a client of mine. And therefore, Ivo has also, I can vouch for his work, and I go to him to ask questions when I get really stuck. And I have used all of my principles to try and find solutions to problems. And so, yeah, that's why I think he's a very interesting person to talk about meta ads. My own experience with meta ads is not nearly as extensive as that of Ivo's. I use it for clients off and on again, but I definitely do not have the pedigree that Ivo has here with a good number of years of just purely focusing on meta. So that's very different. He spends more than €1 million for his clients every 6 months on meta ads. So if that's the amount of money you'll be spending, you better know what you're doing. So yeah, welcome to our second edition. I will send you some links to our LinkedIn account and our YouTube account, where you could follow whatever it is that we do, where we post our next webinar editions and YouTube shorts, the recordings of the actual webinars, so that you can stay up to date on what we do. If this is what if you like this edition, I hope that you do. And so then I know, let's just get started. So Ivo, could you tell a little bit about yourself and your agency?
Yes, Ivo, 34, Dutchie, living in Berlin. Worked for Meta for 2.5 years, and then I grounded my own agency. Seen a lot of stuff happening throughout the ages, iOS landscape, Google Sandbox, yes, coming through, etc. There are so many things within Meta we can go into depth, but I want to just lay some ground rules or a framework a little bit to have some interpretation on what we're going to be discussing today. So that's a little bit of my background on Meta and what we do. We work for clients such as XXL Nutrition, Landau Green Parks. We work for a big pharma company here in Germany as well. Edeka might be as well on recruitment. So quite a differentiated portfolio. It's because we know how to handle these. So there's no big niche for us. Just some personal touches. I love food and drinks. You can see that as well. A little bit chubby there. But it has a reason, because my background is actually from hospitality. I used to work a lot in hospitalities. Fun fact, I was able to serve Lewis Hamilton and Kobe Bryant in Michelin restaurants. So that's my place, and my heart goes really for passion and giving service. Giving passion and service for our clients, but as well for Meta Ads campaigns, and providing service as well, for example, to give you some insights on how we work, some tools that you can use afterwards. So that's actually happy, and what we want to discuss today. So basically, in a sense, to set expectations, today is about Meta Ads. Practical and real examples, simple frameworks, common mistakes, and tools you can actually use. This is not a webinar on a technical masterclass. It's not a sales pitch. It's not a 60-minute slide deck. I actually have no slides. I only have 12 tabs open with Ads Manager, Canva, etc. This is actually a beginner-friendly, practical, interactive, and based on real examples webinar where we go through everything actually.
Exactly. So this is also what we are trying to achieve here. What we are trying to achieve is a conversation that you can join. So if you have any questions, just drop them in the chat, or maybe even easier if you would add it to the Q&A section on the right. And then I will make sure that your question gets an answer, and that the conversation keeps flowing. Also, please tell us if you think we are dreadfully wrong. That's essentially why we are here. Because if you disagree, you usually get to nuances, because what I think we all want as marketeers or people who do marketing is that we want to get to the thing that works. And so, you get that, you sometimes get it wrong, sometimes you get it right. And disagreeing is something that really gets you to what actually does work. So that's fantastic. And I also like that Ivo's agency doesn't focus specifically on one niche, because then you just kind of get stuck in, okay, so Ivo knows like one or two different tricks to get a nice cheap lead that also might convert. So today we're going to really be able to help a lot more of the people in the audience, simply because he doesn't only limit himself to tactics and strategies that work for, let's say, pharma, but they could also help freelance photographers or
definitely
anything like that, which obviously is a very different way of doing performance marketing, because you simply have very different budgets to work with. Because if you throw away 200,000 euros as a pharma company, I think that is an accounting mistake. And if you do that as a freelance photographer, I don't know how fantastic Crystal is, but I'm guessing her prices are not that high that she just throws away 200,000 euros and thinks like, you know what, at least I learned something.
Well, every euro counts.
Exactly.
Every euro counts. It's very important.
So shall we get to the meta ads then?
Yes.
So then let's specify specifically what are we talking when we talk about meta ads? Because I remember that threads is technically part of it. But whenever we talk, Ivo, I never hear you about threads. So is there A, a good reason for that? And B, how do you define meta ads for today's purposes?
Meta ads is actually quite diverse. You have, I think it's 5 literally platforms you can advertise on. So that's Facebook, that's Instagram, Messenger, Threads, WhatsApp. And of course you have Audience Network. That's like a third-party platform where you can buy impressions and advertisement places. How to define these as well, and how to combine these as well in your strategy, obviously. I'm gonna actually be quite frank and blunt. And this, I'm not gonna tell you any hacks, because there are no hacks. It's all data-based, and I'll show you later on as well. If you're gonna start with meta ads, start very broad on every placement. Start very broad on Threads, start very broad on WhatsApp, etc., and gather data on your audiences, on your placements, etc. I'll go into depth a little bit more later on regarding these placements. And the main question is, and we'll go on to that as well, like I said, I'm not going to give you any hacks. I'm going to give you basically a few principles. And if you can keep your principles, you'll most likely get good results. But we'll go into that in a little bit. That I want to say as well, so for the people who are here for the first time, for me, starting Meta Ads was a jungle. I'm not sure if you have seen Meta Ads on the back end. Derek, you've seen it, right?
Oh, I am. For me, it is so bizarre because I only open Ads Manager every year, every 2 years. And so it looks completely different. All of the things that I think, first off, when I remember my last campaigns, I feel like, oh, for this client, it would be fantastic to get started there. That is just not even an option anymore. It just works completely differently, at least from my limited experience. And so I would prefer to work in MS-DOS over Facebook's Ad Manager.
You're right. Because if you would learn Meta Ads now when you see all those buttons, there's a high chance that those buttons won't be there in a month's time because they change it very often, very frequently. AI is involving. They want to push AI. It's crazy. So what they said as well, what they taught us at Meta as well, you have 300,000 variabilities to set up a campaign and only 50 work. So there are some things to consider, right? Based on this, so keep that fun fact because it's a nice fun fact. I love fun facts as well. Keep that in mind because we'll go into depth in this one later as well. I just want to share a few mistakes I made because I'm a human. I make mistakes. For a big client of ours, we had to set up a campaign on a Friday. I'm pushing it to the heart. Don't set campaigns up on a Friday because you have the weekend after. We all have a weekend. We want to relax a little bit. Plus, I do love a beer at Friday afternoon, so I want to finish quick. I put a 0. So we had a daily budget of €500 and I added 1 0. I was ready to go. Luckily, Lars is here. We do a 4I principle. So before anything goes live, somebody has to go over it and check my work. He found out. Luckily, we saved that one. So that was a mistake on my end. The other one, for example, is to tell the client that the campaign is live. And actually, the first button on the campaign switch was still off. So, dolly me. Those things happen. So basically, what I want to make is a little bridge. Mistakes can happen. They're human. Everybody starts somewhere. And today is about making mistakes less likely and less expensive. I made some. I had to pay some bills where we're not proud of. And yeah, it happens. But what I want you to get eventually out of this webinar is as well to make less mistakes. So I created a little poll. So I'm just gonna.
So let's put that on.
Put this one on here for you guys, just to know a little bit of, have you ever done ads? Are you going to do ads? Are you actually managing clients? I'm very curious. So please, if you guys could just give a little glimpse in where you're at the moment. So I'll try to as well level the terminology and language that I use.
Okay. I can, by the way, also verify that the daily ad spend is the most terrible place to make a typo, because I've also been called by our account manager for Pinterest ads of all places that indeed perhaps I wasn't keen to spend €2,000 per day because our monthly spending was €10,000. So maybe that was not part of our strategy. Long live points of periods and commas being used differently across languages, because that's where the mistake was.
Those things happen, unfortunately. Well, see some answers here. That's great. Launching my few campaigns myself, actually running campaigns. Looked around Ads Manager, so nobody's new to it, so that's great. So everybody knows a little bit so far, huh? Maybe some people didn't say, but at least you know the basics of Ads Manager in the backend. So that saves me a lot of mansplaining. Let's call it that way. I'm good at mansplaining, but Good.
But this also means that things can actually get stuck. Because if you have some different things that you can actually connect that new knowledge to, then it sticks, as opposed to just everything being new and just being
Exactly.
left at the end with a feeling of like, oh, this could be interesting for me.
Exactly. So what we did is, so some of you guys actually seen our ads and me in a picture. We run some ads. We're going to go through those ads. We're going to go to a few best practices. We're going to go through the data. I made a huge mistake. So for me, it's fine. We spend around 400 euros just to give you a glimpse on what's possible and just to how to see the data, how to work with the data, and eventually what the results were. And where I messed up with 220 euro eventually. So from the 400 euros I spent, I messed up 220. And I'll show you how and where. I made those mistakes, I know. But just for the sake of it, we'll go through them. So I'm going to share my screen into our ads manager. So as we said, no slides, real life stuff. If we're gonna talk about meta ads, then there's a very simple structure. First off, you have your campaign level. Basically, that's the setting of the goal of the algorithm. What do I want? Ad set, go to the ad set level. There you set up your audiences, budget, placements, inventory buying, conversion event. And eventually on the ad level, you put on your creative, copy, and tracking. Fair and square. So, what does Meta? So we'll go into this a little bit later, but just to share what does Meta. I'm 100% sure, and Lars will tell me, he's like, oh, you can't say 100%, but I'm 100% sure your audience is live on Meta, on any platform, Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger, etc. They have around 3.5 billion active users over their full platforms. So I'm pretty sure your audience is there. For me, the main question is always, and that's the. I'll explain it with a coin. Just not to do. I have a coin here, and I always explain this to my customers as well. Is setting up ads is actually like a coin. So you have your ad settings, so everything what you do in Ads Manager. And on the other hand, you have your messaging, you have your copy, you have your audiences, etc. And the silver lining is the person handling it, and that's us. So basically everybody in here, we saw in the poll that everybody does Meta ads in general. So it's a 50-50 here. What we'll do, we'll go through these campaigns as we speak. So let me just briefly, because I want to give you a few pros and cons. First of all, why you should do meta ads or why you should not do meta ads, because there's so many reasons on both sides. Meta has a huge reach, so your audience is active on Facebook or Instagram. You have fast feedback. For instance, we run this campaign, we have feedback. We see how many clicks, we see how many cost per click is, landing page view, etc. We have very fast feedback, and therefore you can iterate and quickly change to new concepts or new campaigns. You can test very fast. It's great for storytelling, so educational services, testimonials, founder stories. You have flexible budgets. You can start, I think, already from €2 per day. And good for different goals: awareness, leads, sales, webinar signups, like ours, for instance, our appointments. Cons, which is easy to waste money. And I'm making a little bridge towards the analysis of these campaigns. I wasted money. Even I set it up like this, Meta will always spend your money no matter what. They just take. Tracking can be messy. We have Meta Google Analytics, GH4, we have server-side tracking, copy. Like I said, it's not going to be a technical webinar, but tracking can be very messy. Creatives. So creatives is going to be king in a sense. A lot of new creative content helps to bring across a different message. The other one is too many settings. So too many campaigns for a too little budget, or too many ad sets, too many spreads in and out, does not work for the algorithm. And ads cannot fix anything. Basically, meta ads is a reflector, a mirror of your company, because it can only enhance and how to say this the best way, it can only enhance and amplify how the back office and how the business looks like. If you have a bad offer, a poor landing page, slow follow-up, that hurts performance. Meta, the ads on that sense cannot do anything. It's just basically, you want to show ads, drag people out of the platforms, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, and get them onto your landing page to make an action. So those are basically the pros and cons on why to do meta ads or not, basically in a very, very, very top level way.
I also think that your analogy of that it's a reflection of if doing meta ads is a reflection of your company. I think what I always use is the analogy of that advertising, especially performance marketing, is this. It's like putting adding fuel to the fire. If there is already a fantastic spark, then your fire is going to be beautiful. If there is nothing, you're just going to waste fuel, and which is in this case the money, and just going to ruin some perfectly fine wood.
Yeah, and we don't want that. We want to have a beautiful fire, a bonfire.
Exactly.
So basically, in a sense, it's a simple framework. It's basically 5 questions you should always ask yourself. Don't worry, those questions I'll send to you as well. But before you start doing meta ads, is actually the goal. What do we want? Is that leads? Is that sales, appointments, webinar signups? What do we want actually? Audience. Who should see it? Who is my audience? The messaging. Why should they care? What kind of pain points do we want to address? Or what is the solution we provide for them? Then the creative is, what do they actually see? That could be a video, testimonial. That could be an educational video, service-wise. There are 10,000 options to put on your message eventually. The beauty of it, like I said prior, is that Meta quickly gives you feedback. So in that sense, you can iterate and quickly change everything based on data. And then the last part is, and this is a very, the most important one, is tracking. How do we know what worked? So based on those, that little framework, if you can answer all those questions, then I tell you, you can do meta ads, you can start. Obviously, your backend, landing page, etc., needs to be in order to start. So, what I actually want to do is give you, we'll go into this one, but before we go into this one, and now this is one mistake you should avoid when you can create campaigns. So you can still
I think it's good if you share your screen again, because I took off your screen sharing capacity, because otherwise, if we want to use this material on YouTube, you just see those 2 empty campaigns, and I have seen more beautiful things on YouTube.
I believe so as well. So basically this ads manager, so if you can create, so first of all, what's my goal? What do I want? What we see, we do quite a lot of account audits for quite some big companies, and unfortunately we still see it happening. And now I have a little bit, it's not statistical, but we'll go into it. Ask yourself the question, what do I want the algorithm to do actually? Is that appointments, leads, app installs, conversions. Focus on those rather than, for instance, a traffic campaign. Because traffic campaign literally says, I want to show an ad, want to have the person on my landing page, and that's it. Then the algorithm says, done, I did my job. So always go to the end goal and always put on campaigns towards the end goal. Why is that? And then I'm going to ask you a question as well in the Q&A, or like ask the question in the chat, but I'll have this one for you. So we have 2 campaigns set up. So the first one is a traffic campaign. So I just give you advice not to do it, but I did it anyway. And a lead campaign. As we can see, is that the lead campaign actually got us quite some clicks, has a high click-through rate of nearly, it's above 3%. A very low CPC, which is nearly €2 less than the traffic campaign. Now, my question is to you guys, how many conversions did we get out of the traffic campaign? I'll wait a half a minute. But
I am, based on how I saw things in Webinar Geek, I don't think it was, wait, out of 200, maybe 1. I think we're lucky then.
0 on Jeremy?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Jeremy is right. I just want to be optimistic.
Good. All right.
Let's do the big reveal.
Let's see the pay review. We literally have 0. So
Jeremy is the man.
Jeremy, you go to the next round for the fridge. But literally, we have a lot of clicks. Beautiful. Clicks are nice. But if we tell the algorithm to optimize for clicks only, it will give me clicks and it doesn't give me the rest. So therefore, first lesson, always optimize for the goal you want to have. Yvette, I'll answer that question in a bit, or actually we can go into it. Could you just amplify a little bit on what type of applicants? Is it like recruitment? Where is it? So recruitment. Yes, so you're in special ads category. You'll probably need to set up your tracking for a submit form, and then that would be a lead. So you're actually gathering leads.
Well, in all fairness, recruiting that way is leads, because
Exactly.
No one is that they didn't buy it. They didn't get the job.
No.
Not at first.
So I don't want to brag, but we spent nearly around, let's see, €500,000 over the last 2 years on recruitment with one company. And do not expect this, just Yvette, this for you, a little extra. Don't expect any CVs, because people are passively scrolling over social media and they don't have their CV ready. So if you're going to do recruitment, don't ask for a CV, because that's a conversion killer. Ask it afterwards when you have the data. Good. Let's have a look how we're going to tackle this. So like I said, we have campaign ad set and ad level. What I want to do actually is a little bit show you a little bit how we did this setup and why we thought this would be a good way to do. And then afterwards, we're going to go into we're going to go into depth first, because I like data. Is that okay?
Bring it on. Just make sure that the visual is exciting. So either click away
the
screen share or go into the exciting data.
We're going into the exciting data. So I created my own dashboard where the data actually loads in every day at 12 o'clock. So we can see here, I just created a dashboard for this webinar. We can see that we spent €400. We have leads, 35. These are my benchmarks. So on CPM, CTR, CPC, etc. And here we can see as well what's actually happened. So we have 35 leads. We spent €350. Traffic didn't do nothing. So that's already, for me, next time, I'm not going to set up a traffic campaign, because it saves me €50. My CPA is €11.42. I could have 5 more people in this webinar if they would show up. I'm showing you this data as well. This is how we do audits. So basically we have this, we load in every day the whole data sheet over the last year. And based on this, we check on the results and we check on budget leaks. We don't check on basically on main mistakes, but on where budget goes. We can see the last 30 days as well. And this is funny actually, because I can see Parsival is here as well. We do webinars as well with us just in this test. It's 1 week prior. If you guys ever gonna do a webinar or whatever, 1 week prior, I have it now, I think on 4 or 5 cases already, is 1 week prior. The 2 days are the most cheap ones. So push budget on those days. What for us is as well interesting on this campaign is actually the account insights. So basically we can literally see where did the money go within Meta. Like I'm going to show you guys, we have this dashboard. I'll show you later on how you can see this as well in Meta, but it's not very user friendly. You can do it in breakdowns, but we can literally see where the money goes. And then what we can see here, for instance, is that the cost per result on the age segment was pretty expensive if we look on people for 45 years and older. So for me, next time, I'm not going to target these people because that again cost me €70. So in that sense, I already wasted it 120. We can see as well in that sense, like, hey, we have a few more male applicants than female applicants. We can see mobile and desktop, so most of the people come over mobile, which is very normal as well. This is something we highly advise, is make everything what you make regarding landing pages, etc., mobile friendly. Regarding placements, we cannot say anything, but it's just interesting to see, obviously, is where does the money go? So for instance, we have some money spent on the feed, but the cost per result cost me €27. I'm not going to exclude it because it's one of the highest volume and bulky placements we have, but it's something to address. Moreover, we do not have enough spent, so we cannot make any judgments. Just to showcase,
Ivo, I think this is a stop screen share moment for a second.
absolutely.
This is actually something I would like to get into, because I think for the people who are working for agencies, they will probably have already bumped into this situation before, because I think the both of us have bumped into it. Because right now you're trying to say, okay, next time I will filter out these people because I have better results.
Yeah.
But that is not which makes sense. But that's not something that you can actually do for everything, right? Just like you said with the feed, like you would like to be able to filter it out, but that doesn't mean that you're actually going to have the results where you only have the CPA being lower than 5 or something.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with that? How do you find that balance?
We find that balance basically to do A/B tests. So basically, this is a very boring answer. You need to test everything. So in a sense, there you set up the A/B test of, let's say, we want to make sure the age group of, let's say, 18 to 44 versus the age group of 44 to 65 plus. Let it run, and we can literally see what happens. Though I just wanted to say we can make these adjustments, obviously, if we have bulky data. So if you have large sums of data, it clearly, and I can give you an example. If I'm allowed to share my screen again.
Oh, absolutely, you are. I just want to make sure there's something for me to cut
Absolutely, that's great.
later on.
That's good. So basically, this is an anonymous one. This is data from last year from a client of ours. So they spent 28K, and this is an online course. So somebody who sells an online course, but it's an online course for people who are in the older segment. So in that sense, we can see as well is that most money goes into the elder segment, not very male dominant, more female dominant. So in that sense, if we load in the data and I'm just gonna stop sharing. So if we load in the data, we can literally see where the spend goes, where the money goes. And from there you can optimize. But this is basically the optimization and parts that we're going very, very, very quickly into a sideways.
That's the beauty of conversation, especially with me, because my conversations will lose track very, very quickly.
Yeah. So in that sense, you can, and sorry, there, I'm just going to share again.
I want you to share things. I just want to also have a little bit of your face.
Yeah, I understand. So within Ads Manager, you can use breakdown. So within Ads Manager, you can find anything what I just showed you. You can show it in breakdown. So basically, you can check age, and I will give you the example, and I give you the numbers and etc. You can check it on placements. But like I said, I want to have a combination, and for me, this is not very user friendly to check. You can use as well. You can download reports, set up reports, and then automate it. For me personally, that was not the way to go, and therefore I chose to make my own dashboard. I do want to go over just in the beginning. Are there any questions or anything you would love to get more into from the audience? Is there anything?
I think we just have a very attentive audience today. They're just hanging on to your every word, Ivo.
That's good. I'll put up a little poll still. We have I've got another poll. So very curious of what we'd like to understand better today. It's like how to set up a campaign, which campaign objectives to choose, just to know the direction where we're going to.
Mm-hmm. So I wanted to ask my question because I think that one of the things that is so interesting is that, for me at least, is that you work usually with larger clients, although I also know that you work with smaller companies as well.
Yes.
But the most difficult thing is dealing with the client, right? Because obviously your professional knowledge on meta ads, second to none. But dealing with the client and their idiosyncrasies that's where the biggest unknowns are for you, because every person is different, every client is different, every client reacts differently to different things. And so dealing with a statistical overview, as you have just shown, it could lead some people who are very money focused, like your overview is by itself, to just say like, okay, you know what, if that is so expensive, then I don't want to do it at all, because then I spent my budget more efficiently. And obviously that here would be both true and false at the same time.
It's handling clients is difficult, but I can, this is like open doors for me, but it's very important. Do what you say. If you make appointments, agreements, etc., do it, and be very transparent. So like I said, I wasted some budget on a client. I felt horrible. I sent him a message directly. He was pissed. He's like, "You're gonna pay me back." I had to pay him back, so we paid him back. But ownership, real communication, and literally doing what you say you're going to do solves 99 of your problems. That's client-based. On the other hand, we have the lovely platform of Meta, which changes nonstop. Meta has been adding AI functions to the max. They hiding stuff. And in that sense, please be careful, because I'll show you a few examples in a bit on where to focus and where as well. Like I see that the poll was how to avoid wasting budget. We can go into those a little bit later.
I also think that's good because your approach is very much on budget maximization anyway, at least so far. And I actually think that's very interesting to see because even when we were working together, I feel like it wasn't very much about there. The focus wasn't about avoiding wasted budget. It was more about fixing their customer journey, I would say,
Yeah.
which unfortunately was a side of our responsibility, and therefore we could only give advice, and that advice was heard but not fully implemented, to say
Mm.
it in a nice way. So yeah, it's interesting to see that indeed your focus here is so much about how to just optimize budget and not get into the nitty gritty
Yeah.
directly of ad copy, etc. Because I think a lot of people would start there. So just interesting to see.
I'm gonna give a few. We're gonna give you a few tips on things you should consider. Again, yet here I'm not gonna tell you hacks. I'm gonna just, if you do meta ads, stick to the basics. You win. That's what I can tell. Let me just again. We're gonna share. I'll just walk through a few settings you should take care of when you're doing meta ads. First off, is we'll go to a client of ours which we allowed to showcase. We go to advertisement settings. If you're gonna go here, how to not waste money is first off is the account controls. You have your audience controls, which is fair and square. We don't, for this client, is the course. We saw the data just before. We don't want to showcase under 25, so therefore we set it up for. But the audience control is not the main point for us. The audience control would be placements that Meta includes automatically, and I'll say for 99% won't convert. Those will be apps like Candy Crush, those annoying apps that come in between. Those are most likely on your audience network, as in rewarded videos. Turn these off. Marketplace, right column, turn these off for 99% of the cases. This will save you budget because money goes there, doesn't convert. On the other hand, is very important creative feature. This is Meta's newest thing. Is for some people, luckily for this one, it's not, but it's very important to read the small print. So if you have this one ticked on in your account, you allow Meta to spend 5% of your ad impressions with new enhancements. Basically, you tell Meta, yes, I'm okay with you spending 5% on training your AI model. Not great. Plus, if you sometimes have problems with ads being shown in a different way than you've set it up, this button will as well, not per se will change it, but most likely change it. Setting up your audience and engaged segments. Who are my engaged audience? Non-buyers, non-leads. Who are my existing customers? So by setting up these segments, I'll go to the campaign, just as an example. On breakdown as well, you can go to audience segments and you can, we don't see it here. Dope. Thanks, Meta. Perhaps, let me just get another campaign. Just give me a second. Just get these going. So for instance, for a sales, we have the new audience and engaged audience. Let me just get a better example. Give me a second, guys. So maximum.
In the meantime, let's get to Crystal's question on using Meta without AI. Is it safe to use Manus or Performance Max campaigns? Sometimes those are advised, or will it just drain your wallet?
Could you repeat that question once more?
So do you think it's safe to use Performance Max campaigns or I don't know if this is a typo, but Manus?
No, Manus is the AI system of Meta, which you can connect to analyze your campaigns, competitors, etc. Audience Plus is good. It's the AI generated, but I would always compare it, and this is again testing. You can put on Advantage Plus shopping campaign. And on the B side, so an A/B test is by setting it up manually with your own rules and your own
Mhm.
restrictions based on the data you have.
So would you say, is it time again to, hey, am I still working?
I can hear you, but you're stuck.
That is fantastic. Love being stuck. Thank you, Webinar Geek. I'm not even pressing anything. This is just fantastic. Disable, getting there. Hey, look at that. Me and my beautiful green polo. One of the things that I would say Meta actually did really well for a while was that it was really just give me your captions and creatives, and Meta does everything else. It was a lot more efficient than actually setting up all of the restrictions yourself. That was the case for a while,
Yeah.
right? Like, or am I misremembering this? It was
Yeah.
a while back though. And would you say that now we're back to this period where you need to restrict Meta again?
Yes. Just to give you an example, when I used to work at Meta, we had a funeral service, which is obviously a very emotional service. And they had add music AI on there. We had happy birthday underneath it. You know the sense of it. It just puts stuff underneath it, which tests, connects. Basically, what it does, you get a full spectrum of possibilities on connections. So it literally will put up your ads, put up your texts, put up all the AI functions, and change it. If you have those on, you tell the algorithm, you are allowed to change my texts. You are allowed to change or crop my image. We have a lot lately. I'm getting angry at Meta because they change it every day. We have to tick off. Like it's a lot of additional work. We have to tick off a lot of AI functions.
I
What
also
we leave
think, by
on
the
there,
way, that yeah,
yeah,
but what I want to say is that like allowing Meta to change your text for me, those AI functions right now are still so early days and they just create average stuff.
yeah.
And for me right now, in a day where brand or brand experience is so important because there are just 2,000 alternatives for any business. If you have gluten-free dog food, and I doubt that that is relevant in the world, but even if you start a company like that today, tomorrow you find out you have 50 competitors. So you are fighting with so many people for that same purchase. And then brands become so important. And then when you let AI do that for you, you're never going to be able to stand out.
It obviously matters as well as how niche your product is. So if you have a very niche product, don't let AI or Meta automate your campaigns. You know your target audience. You know how to message them. You know how old are they or specifications. So that's as well a thing to think about. And then again, going back to the 5 principles, is simple framework is your goal. What do we want? Audience, who should see it? Message, why should they care? Creative, what do they see? And eventually tracking. Based on those is, I don't want to say common sense, but to automate, great. Depends on the product, depends on the service, depends on the data you get. So yeah. More.
Good. Then we just, because you were looking to find something, I just want to answer one more question, one from Michael. What is your experience with the current status of the Meta API when it comes to agentic setups?
Do you have an experience with this context? Maybe a good question for later. Status. You mean the Meta API to, for instance, automate your campaigns? Because the Meta API has a lot of functions. So, Michael, would you mind to specify a little bit further or give a little bit more context? And I'll get back to you a little later. Yes? Regarding this as
So
well,
yeah.
sorry.
No, I said let's get back to you just continue.
Yeah. So basically, as well, what I want to share as well, and this is very, I want to show you a little bit of how can you do research. So how can you research your audience? How can you research your messaging? How can you find the golden nugget on content? So find out pain points. How do I want to push my message? Um, Based on that, this is how we do it. And this is we've automated it internally. So basically, when people fill in an onboarding form with us, the AI goes to work, and we get a market analysis, and we get a competition analysis breakdown and everything. But before that, we did it manually. I'm going to give you it manually because it's easy to do. We all have AI. We probably all have ChatGPT, Gemini, Code, whatever. So basically, a link you could use always, and I'll send it over. We send it over an email with all the links and the tools eventually, because I'm sharing some tools as well, which you can use as well for meta ads. Use meta ads library. Spy on your competitors. What are they doing? Hey, my ad results drop. Oh, okay. Your client will come to you and say, hey, why do they drop? I don't have a clue. I don't know. We analyzed everything. And then we can see, for instance, that a competitor made a campaign with a huge discount. So basically all the traffic goes to the competitor, and we have a reason as well to say, hey, this might influence. So definitely the meta ads library. On the other hand, Reddit. And there's a way to scrape Reddit. Reddit is anonymous. People are bold. People don't care. And that's the beauty of Reddit. Because in this sense, and I just put in meta ads, but I generally don't understand meta ads or what am I missing? Do meta ads really work, etc.? Based on these, I could find pain points on why people struggle with meta ads. So as well as send this to you, you can download a extension, which is a Reddit comment scraper. And basically, if I want to have what the F is up with meta ads, I'll go up here. I'll go to the Reddit comment scraper. Just give me a sec. And I literally said scrape the comments. Not now, I'm on winning ads, okay? But basically, you can scrape those comments, download it, upload it in ChatGPT, analyze these comments. What could I use for my meta ads? Basically, it's anonymous. People are very honest about your product or your competitors. They don't care. Even you can do this as well with Google reviews. Go to your competitors, download their full reviews, put it in an AI and analyze it. Based on those, you're going to get golden nuggets, which you can turn into content.
I would like to highlight, by the way, because I think it's really funny that you bring Reddit up here. We actually, our last webinar was about Reddit marketing, specifically about, I want to say it's more so like community management. It is a lot about, one of the things that we did wrong last webinar is that we didn't really get into the nitty gritty. It was a lot about like the philosophy of how amazing it is that there is a place with 600 million active monthly users where people are indeed this direct and they still get to live under the guise of anonymity. But it's still definitely worth watching, I would say. And yeah, if you guys want to know more, please also contact our speakers from last time. They're really great people.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, like you said, like this is how you do research on your audiences. This is how you do research. This is how you find your messaging. Based on that messaging, you can find angles. You have to try different creatives, different formats. And from there, see what the data does, see what meta tells you. Question mark remark is tracking needs to be correct. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense at all to advertise. So I said as well, and we said in the email, and I think we have a few more minutes left. So as well, thank you for staying so long already. I want to share. Sorry, Derek, you're gonna have snippets. You have to cut me out a few times with the screen sharing stuff, but I think this is very handy for them.
Go for it.
We're going to. It's just easy. It's a little tool. You can make it yourself as well if you like, but for us, it's very easy. So I made texts for my ads. On the right side, you see the ad. It's not the ad that we did, but basically the primary text on the right side. Afterwards, you have 105 characters, and afterwards, Meta cuts it off with ... see more. And basically, if you have a nice message down here and it's longer than 105 signs, it will cut it off, and it basically you did not tell the full story you wanted to tell. So therefore, 105 max counts. We'll send it over as well. You can make a copy of it, but basically it always makes sure that you stay within the maximum ratios of characters. Even as well for the headlines, USPs are underneath the button of ... see more. The forecast tool. So basically I'll showcase this one to you. Sorry, I just clicked it away. But basically the forecast tool is as followed. You have to fill in the yellow pieces. So basically this was our campaign, which we did now. 400 euros, 100 investment. We had a CTR of 124, as we can see here. Wow, that's easy. 124, a CPC of 108. That's been filled in. So because I told you as well prior, I would not do a traffic campaign. So the numbers are actually, the numbers are actually not correct. These benchmarks, because we have the traffic campaign in there. If we take the benchmarks of, let's say, the lead campaign with a CTR of 0.81 and 2.24, so let's fill it in. So we have 0.81, 0.81, and we have a cost per click of 224, 42 what it was. We want to invest another, let's say, 400 euros. And we have a conversion ratio of 22.44. So if I would do this again, without the traffic campaign, I could forecast my cost per webinar subscription. That would be nearly 80 cents less. But we learned something. We learned that the elderly target audience was not that interesting for us. As I can show you here, was not that interesting. So what we can say, hey, let's do another 400 euro, 100%. We say, these creatives were okay, but I think we can do better. I think we can put it to 1%. CPC, maybe we can get it to 2.20 euro with targeting settings. And I think we can grow our conversion rate if we do some optimizations on the landing page. We can get that up to 25. That would mean, and this is a forecast tool, you can forecast basically what we can say now to the client. That's Lars, my co-founder, said, hey, I did this campaign. This was my first run. This is what I would have done if I put everything on the lead campaign instead of traffic. And actually, if I'm going to run it again, I think I can improve the click-through rate, the cost per click by these margins and the conversion rate. And then I think I can get a lead for, let's say, 8.80 euro. So in that sense, it's a tool you can use to make forecasts as well for your clients. So if a client says, hey, we're running ads, you're an agency or marketeer, you're freelancer or whatever, or your boss asks you like, what's the forecast for the next coming campaign? You can check the campaign from last year, you can check your data, and you can make a forecast. So basically in that sense, by just filling out 4 pieces. We'll send that over as well to use whatever in the future as well. Let's go over to the questions in my
Very good. I think that we have covered an enormous amount of topics,
Yeah,
and I think Rens is first of all fantastic Dutch name. You instantly know where someone with that first name is from.
might be
I mean,
Belgium. You don't know.
don't know a lot of Flemish people with the name Rens. Anyway, so what he says is that he does the meta of the Facebook ads for his dad's dental prosthetics practice. So first of all, already a very difficult topic because it's so local, of course.
Mhm.
And then second of all, what he says is that they have an ad, it works, it generates leads, people fill in their name and number, but the quality is poor
Yeah,
because people
yeah,
don't pick up when they then call.
yeah.
So how do you solve this? And I would love for you to take the question a little bit broader, like not only answering Rens's question, but one of the things that I have had historically a lot with Meta ads is that you do an advertisement specifically for the Netherlands, and somehow all of your leads are from Morocco or Algeria, even if you specify things already. And like there's a lot of or that indeed, what was it? We did a meta ads for a regional company in the Oberpfalz. So for anyone who isn't in Germany, that is the north of Bavaria. It is a very beautiful region. Please go on holiday there, but it's not a place where you go and like have lots of people. And suddenly, everyone who wanted to buy a new kitchen, because they were selling kitchens, they all had Central Asian names. So they were a mixture of Russian typical names, either first name or last name, and names that you would associate with the Middle East. And I don't think that we in one day could have generated 40 people with that type of name in an area with as few people and as few immigrants as that specific region.
So I'll answer the question, but I understand where you're coming from. Maybe there's like friends to answer your question. I would need to check in Ads Manager, but please check one setting. When you said the first one is, are we generating leads on a landing page? Or are we generating
Mhm.
leads on an on platform? That would be my first question.
Because what do you anticipate to be the issue? Are you anticipating that people fill in the information from within the app and therefore the quality is lower, or is it the other way around?
There's a new feature within on platform because okay within
From within leads from Facebook, that's what
yeah.
I also
So
anticipated.
back in the days, on platform leads were shit. Just to say briefly, and sorry for my language. Manolis is right as well. Many bots, people are just filling in data and just doesn't do it. There's a new feature, and I'm not sure if you've seen it. I think it's 3 months old, but you can do SMS verify. So basically, if people give their phone, they will get an SMS, and they need to verify with a code that they want to fill in your form. So basically, they verify their phone number, which ups the quality of your leads on platform.
It
Turn it on
seems
today.
Rens is on the right track.
So you're on the right track. That's the first thing. For me to give specific information about something, I would really need to see what's happening. Targeting wise, are you using exclusions? Do you have a customer list as well that you exclude because they already had their ads, they had their appointment? Are you using lookalikes of the customer list? So people who look like those clients. Quality wise, obviously, the more questions, the more better. On the other hand, your CPA will be higher, but the quality will be higher as well. So there's always this middle point is what do I want? Like we spent 400 euros, which is fine. We had 35 registrations. We're still with 12 people, 21 other. So there are people that are not showing up, which is fine. That's normal. But in a sense, there as well is the quality. How do we want to do this? Like if we would have, for example, would have asked €5 to join this webinar, I would have a higher CPA, but I would have maybe a 90-80% show up rate. So in that sense, it's always playful. What do we do?
So, Rens, do you want to follow up on this, or are you solid with this answer? Because what I and so that if Rens has the time to write, what I'm actually really how I would summarize a lot of the things that Ivo has said is that basically right now there are just so many different buttons and options and whatever have you within meta ads, and for it, the trick is to know how to restrict meta to make sure that their algorithms and AIs stay within that they keep doing their job as opposed to just spend ad budget on different ad platforms, etc. That your audience isn't on and wouldn't be able to actually engage with your ads the way that they need to.
Yeah, yeah.
And I also think, by the way, that Rens's answer about 9 leads, 6 didn't pick up. I don't think that is that low. I think that is
My
acceptable
question
for
would be
now,
as
and
well,
it's not representative.
yeah, exactly, but as well on the ad spend, because this seems to be not that high for the moment, which is okay.
Yeah.
It's a local business. That's
Hmm.
totally fine. Um, it
Yeah,
might be,
10
yeah,
euro there.
exactly. So 10 euros a day. I think 9 leads. I don't know over which period of time, but there's going to
Also,
be shit
what?
leads. Even okay,
Hmm.
okay. That's
Yeah,
40
4
euro.
days. Yeah.
That's nearly 5 euro a lead. So in that sense, give it some
Yeah.
time.
Also, but I think Rens is very important here is that obviously we are all really good at staring blindly at this cost per lead. But what you really need is how much money do I put into my business, into my marketing, and how much profit do I make? Because the beautiful thing is that I think your dad makes decent money selling fake teeth to elderly people, or to people who have had terrible car crashes. Who knows? I really hope that's not the case. But if you spend what is it, 10 euros a day, 40 euros, and you get 3 people to actually book an appointment, I think you deserve more pocket money because that is a fantastic investment, I would say, right?
More than happy to send me an email as well. I'll include it here in the chat as well. You can always um, we can always check. So what I want to say as well, so we give away these tools. On a matter of fact, I said for me it's important to just give away the basics and the things to think about and to have the basics in order. For us, so we're giving knowledge away. For us, it would be very, very nice. Just if you know anybody, like I said, we're not going to do a pitch. For us, our philosophy is as follows: we're going to give until people are like, okay, I need to work with these guys. If you know anybody or anything, what we do is as well, we do free account audits. So we go into the audit, we take these dashboards, we'll give you advice that you can do immediately, the same day. Those are for free. Normally we charge 1,500. If you know somebody or you would like to have something like this, even if you're small, we're happy to help in that sense. So my email's in the chat as well. If you like to have something like this, then hit me up. Because for us it's important to show quality. Quality is the most important part, and this is our vision as well. If you can give people some tools. In the end, I want to give away the full agency, the back end, like how it works. Lars is in this chat and he's going to be like, no, no, no. We're going to do that. We're going to give away everything, basically, because the expertise is with us. We know how everything works, etc. So in that sense, trying to give away knowledge, data sets, etc. For us, this is important.
What I
So
would like to add to that, having worked with Ivo, what I really like is that Ivo tells clients, this doesn't work. I am not going to continue like this because I'm wasting your money. And this is the funniest thing because I remember with Hanso, which is a beauty product, I would say. He Ivo said, like, look, I cannot do this. I cannot get the results that you want based on all of the current variables that are also restricting us. And that has turned the client into such a fan of Ivo that he instantly said, I need to work with Ivo. I cannot work with anyone else. And that is obviously very paradoxical. But it is indeed like someone who really says what he does and does what he says. And I think that is something that's very, there's a lack of that in today's market,
thank
I would
you.
say.
Like I said, be transparent, communicate, and if you don't see it work, don't spend your time on it. That's it.
Very good.
Just want to make a little hook back towards Michael because he sent a little bit more context. It got lost in the
Perfect.
chat, I think. If we have experience with the marketing Meta API regarding automations. Me personally, no. We have an automation partner who helps us out with automations. So basically, we're building our own dashboard and systems to eventually push ads over our app. So if you have any questions regarding, please feel free to send them over. I can direct them, forward them, and then we can have a question or whatever. We can follow up in another call. That's also fine with me in that matter of fact.
Then I think we have one last question for today, which is Jeremy's, and it's about ad spend per day. He asks, should Meta spend the full budget every day? So let's say it's 10 euros a day. Should it spend 10 euros every day, or would it be healthier if it's 750 or so?
So now I'm going to tell you Meta is a B, is not nice, because if you use daily spend, there is a rule. Meta is allowed to spend 75% more than your daily budget if it sees that it can get results. Is it healthy? In that sense, it's very hard for me to answer. If it provides the results, yes. In another sense, let's have a look. Just let's say 10 euro a day. Should it always use the full? But 10 euros. In that sense, it should use the full budget, but have a look what the results are. So basically, spend the full amount. Are the results good? Great, we can push the budget. Are the results not good? Check the data. What's the data telling you? Age, gender, placements. But as well there, please give the algorithm some time. Because turning on a campaign with, let's say, 10 euro and leave it on for 4 or 5 days and then doesn't work. It needs time. It needs time. And to be very frank and honest, there's the learning phase. And with the learning phase, the algorithm, I think now needs 20 sales in 7 days to get out of the learning phase. Basically, the learning phase, just to give you a little bit glimpse, is can the machine learning find a correlation between the people who have bought? If yes, it goes into active, which is out of the learning phase. If no, it still works, but it has just not enough signals to be significant. And if it's not significant, it cannot learn, and from there onwards, it's a little bit more tougher.
So this is a very, very last question, but it's just because I like Jeremy so much. Is there a way to speed up the learning phase by just using a bigger budget?
Yes. But
so basically, it's just
always a bus. There's always for me, it's very hard
it's the internet. It's all about bots.
There's always this is always black or white. It's not that easy, unfortunately. I wish it would be easy. You can make a calculation, which is the easy way. Gray world we live in, definitely. So what you can do is, because we know the ad manager needs around 20 leads to have a correlation. If you know your CPA, you know your price per lead, and we know that the phase that needs to have those 20 conversions is 7 days, you can do 20 times your CPA is your total budget, divided by 7 days is your daily budget. That should get you out of the learning phase. Another tip.
No, that one's nice. Good. Before Jeremy asks another question, because that's for next time. Because obviously, I think let's close things down and then give everyone the rest of their day back. Good. Then, first of all, I want to really thank Ivo for a fantastic conversation here. I want to thank everyone in the audience today for their questions and participation in the conversation. I would love it if in the end, I hope I clicked the button correctly, you let us know how we did, that you tell us how we can get better, how valuable it was, etc. You will get emails from me about upcoming webinars. Maybe you might receive an email from Ivo as well. If you do not appreciate that, just click unsubscribe. It's perfectly fine. And let us know if you want to go further deeper into the meta ads world. Ivo and I are more than happy to organize another webinar. And other than that, yes, please like and follow us, our webinar series on LinkedIn. Please follow us on LinkedIn and give us thumbs ups and all those things, because the more people we reach, the more we can do. And we would like to grow this into something very special, even more special than it already is with the last 8 people that are here in the audience and Ivo and myself. So I want to thank you all. Thank you for joining, and hope to see you next time.
Have a great day. Thank you all.
Houdoe.
Houdoe.